Yes, good morning, good afternoon and good evening YouTube. What's going on? It's your boy Joey Does Tech and welcome yourselves back to a brand new video. I now have a hobby of trying, massive emphasis on trying by the way. I try to repair tech and restore tech, old tech, new tech, whatever it is on my YouTube channel. I thought it would be a good idea so that in a year's time, 2 years time, 4 years time, I can look back and say, that's where I started. Maybe looking at some things going, I could have done that differently, or can I do something with that now completely different to what I did back then? I thought it'd be cool just to document my progress just for future me, I guess, and future you, if you're still around in that amount of time. I will try and keep waffle to an absolute minimum during this video and just slowly go through the stuff that we've dabbled, aka tried to repair and done shell swaps and taken apart and all bits and bobs. So let's get into it. I'll try and keep everything in order. We're gonna work from our first ever video that we put on the channel right up until now. And I think that'll be the easiest way to do it. So I'll just take this out of the way. In February, I released my first ever video and it was for this beauty. Now, my first video was to replace the battery of an iPhone 5 and this is what we have. The process itself was relatively difficult because it had been the first thing that I'd ever taken apart, first ever piece of tech that I actually got into. Would I recommend somebody who was starting out to maybe pick one of these up or find an old one that you have to take apart and get into? Yeah, because I simply learned quite a lot from just watching videos on this one. I mean, it was awesome. It was quite an easy task to replace the battery. The only thing that I would say is that be careful with the adhesive when you're taking the battery out, but other than that, it was fairly simple. I then had a video shortly after of me trying to replace the screen on the iPhone 5, and that didn't go as successful as the battery replacement. The reason being is that when we installed the new screen, everything was absolutely fine, it was going hunky-dory, but we didn't put the camera back in properly, and as a result of that, the screen cracked again. So I still have to buy an extra screen for this. They've been out of stock for like 3 months because I want to get the same screen because it is really good. So as soon as it comes back in, I'll be doing that. And we've taken the battery out of an iPhone 5. That's wicked. Okay, so we're putting the battery back in the case now. I am so happy that this is now working. Then we move on to this little beauty. I received this from the Retro Future, aka Elliot, my man. I will be keeping this. It's a nice little bit of memorabilia from him, just to remind me that, you know, he's the guy who's helped me get a lot of my things set up, and he's recommended a lot of stuff. And yeah, he sent me this DS along with that note and a bottom screen. Now this isn't the same DS as what it was because we took it apart to use some of the parts in the most recent video that we'd done. However, this case is still something I can use going forward if I ever need to use a case. It's not too bad at all. The only thing is that it's a little bit dirty, but I can now give this a proper clean, a proper soak, just to make sure that we get all of the dirt off of it. I mean, it's not in bad condition whatsoever. And in this video, when I first got the DS, the top screen was broke, so I had to try and repair the top screen. And by doing so, Elliot sent me the top screen just to kind of replace it because the other one was completely screwed. After I made the video, I didn't have a soldering iron, you see, so I was unable to put the speakers back into the top of the DS. So that's why I then made another video of me soldering the speakers back into the DS. And that was pretty cool. That went a lot easier than I expected. I was kind of nervous because I hadn't soldered since school. You kind of had to be calm. Like once you've done the first bit of solder, the second, the third bit, it was all absolutely fine. There's a lot more complicated things to solder out there than a Nintendo DS Lite speaker, but it was a good place to start. So now what we need to do, basically, is roll this ribbon cable up. So if I've got the screen that way, we're rolling it this way. It wouldn't close, so I don't know if that's me pushing it too far in now or what. Oh no, it doesn't turn on. Oh, hey.
Right. There we go. Okay, the ribbon cable just wasn't in.
I then took apart my Xbox One, and that was probably the longest thing that I've done. I was cracking the plastic, I was scratching the plastic. It really wasn't massively successful. In terms of the actual clean, we got rid of a lot of dust. Like, it was actually dust. It was actually okay, but the process of taking the Xbox One apart and putting it back together was tough. Some people will do it and just find it easy and take to it. Like, you know, I wasn't that heavy-handed. except for the fact that when I got heavy-handed, because I thought I needed to be heavy-handed, when in fact all I needed to do was just search for the clips that was on the Xbox, it would have been 10 times easier. That's my bit of advice for anyone taking apart an Xbox One. Original, that is. Just look for the clips. It's so much easier if you look for the clips and pry them up. On this side of the Xbox, this is where I found it toughest to open. Not only do you have to try and release the clips, but the bit of plastic that you're prying from is extremely bendy and very fragile. As you can see, the whole inside of the machine was just coated in such a thick layer of dust. To be completely honest with you guys, in terms of difficulty, if I was to give this a rating, I'd give it maybe a 7 out of a 10. The reason being is because of those clips were so damn difficult to get off in the first place. Then we had this bad boy. This bad boy is another Nintendo DS Lite, which now doesn't have any of the buttons. And the reason behind that is because we have used some of this stuff. In fact, the other half of it is still in a bag. The mission with this one was simple. Replace the bottom LCD screen. This screen doesn't work, the bottom one. However, this top one I'm pretty sure does. So if we ever need to replace a Nintendo DS Lite top LCD screen, that's what I'll be using. Again, with the Nintendo DS Lites, I think they're a great place to start. I watched a video from Tronic's Fix, and he's done quite a few Nintendo DS Lites in the second part to his big video where he's bought God knows how many of these and other consoles. And he even said when he started up his business, this is what he started with. I think they're so fiddly with the ribbon cables. It kind of covers all areas. You have all aspects of kind of a modern technical device in these old Nintendo DS Lites. The R and the L are very, very fiddly to put back in because you have the springs, you've got the ribbon cable on the inside, you've got the antenna cables that you need to thread underneath the game cartridge slot, which just make it quite fun. Tedious, but fun. Can't show you the next one because it's actually plugged into my PC, but that was my Razer Naga. That was literally just, it was cleaning the mouse, which went well. It went well. It removed all the dust and stuff that I needed it to. It stopped it from scratching when I was using it because underneath it had a little bit that was poking out. We managed to fix that as well. That was just cleaning it. That was pretty cool. This is probably going to be my biggest project yet in terms of difficulty and not knowing what to do. This is the PS1 that we bought from eBay for £10 that is registered as faulty, and the issue that we have is that doesn't sound good. The issue that we have is that it doesn't display anything on the TV when I go to plug it in. So the light comes on, it starts spinning, everything looks good and sounds good, it just doesn't portray an image on the TV. So we have bought a multimeter and we're doing some testing at the moment to see if we can work out what the issue is. I might try and do a YouTube live stream with this one just to see if anyone out there can help me and do it live. I think that'd be pretty cool. So that one's still a work in progress. This is an Xbox controller. It is not the one that I've done the repair on, however, because that's now in the garage. I bought some parts. I had my Elite controller for about 3 years, I believe it was, and the RB button had just literally fallen off. So what I decided to do was replace this whole section here. I went online, I bought one for, I think it was around about $9.99, took it apart, put it on, and the whole project itself was such a fail. So, you know, we haven't actually made any changes after all of that. We have tried to replace RB and LB, it's not worked at all, and we've also tried to replace the grips, but they don't fit. So yeah, I'm probably gonna have to fork out a little bit more to get some better quality parts, I feel. Then we move on to the most recent ones, and it brings me back to this DS real quick. We transferred all of the components from this DS into this right here. Now, this is the most recent DS I have, and everything is in full working order. The screen works fine, the top and the bottom one both work fine, the volume works fine. This one I'm really, really happy with. The L and the R works absolutely fine. It's just, yeah, it's okay, good. Yeah, it does work. I was very scared there when I touched that and it started not doing the things it was meant to. But all of the components successfully got transferred over to this case. Obviously, I didn't need to solder because it was part of the whole thing. I literally just needed to essentially drag and drop, copy and paste over to this. Cut and paste even. I don't have a sticker or anything for it, but this looks clean. I really, really like this DS. This was probably one of the most successful projects we've done on the channel so far, and it was a real fun video to make. And we actually replaced the bottom screen because when we transferred everything over, the screen didn't actually work too well. When I was clicking here, it was clicking over here. So we transferred the components from this old one that I had that had a good working bottom screen over to the new one, and that's why this is now working. So that's where we currently stand with all of our projects on the channel. This isn't going to be an amazing video for you guys to watch. Again, it's more something that I can just look back to in the future. And you guys, if you want to go, wow, that's where Joey was. Look where he started out, an absolute moron. Compared to now, 5 years down the line, where he's a little bit better than what he was when he started. And hopefully it can encourage you guys a little bit to try and get involved in this sort of thing if you find it is something that you do indeed enjoy. I'm going to show you a side note, a sneak peek. The next video that's coming out is focused around this. And yes, this is me simply wrapping up the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you had made it this far to the end, you're a legend. Wherever you are in the world, make sure you have a good morning, a good afternoon, and a good evening. And I will see you in the next one. Peace.